let's talk about a third baseman, though. I do happen to love. I do happen to think is not getting enough credit or enough love, and I'm talking about Maikel Franco. Batted mostly in the third spot last year for the Phillies with Tommy Joseph behind him. I only mention that because Tommy Joseph is kind of on a lot of sleeper lists at first base this year as being a high power kind of guy, kind of similar to Moustakas in some ways with his numbers. But anyway, I hated the batting average dip for Franco in 2016. He was down to 255. I don't expect it to rise much past 270, but I think he is 270, 275 major league hitter, so it should definitely jump up from where it was last year. Help is on the way is the more important thing. You know, you got J.P. Crawford coming. Herrera's been showing some belief that he's a legit major leaguer. So you do have some stuff coming in that lineup to help him. But
Roman Quinn.
But I don't think 2017 is the year that Phils make the major league. I think there's still another year or two away from that. So all that being said, though, this guy is going to put up 25 homers, 90 RBIs, and he's the 14th third baseman off the board. I mean, on one hand, that shows you how deep the position is, but on the other hand, it shows you this guy is being criminally underrated. Please tell me you like Maikel Franco more than you like Mike Moustakas.
Well, I like Mike Moustakas, but I actually like Maikel Franco more than I like Mike Moustakas. I think one of the problems with Franco, and especially with fantasy baseball players, you know, based off of last year, is he had that huge spring. You know, he had 9 homers in spring training. You know, his ADP jumped significantly up into a range where probably he wasn't that comfortable. And he ended up disappointing a lot of people. But the thing is, even in a disappointing year, which is his first full year in the majors at the age of 23, he had 25 homers and he drove in, 88 RBIs, which in a Phillies lineup, which was awful. It was probably the worst lineup in the majors, one of the worst offenses in the majors. I think they actually had the least runs scored. That's pretty significant, the fact that he still drove in 88. He's a contact guy for a power hitter. Doesn't strike out much. His strikeout rate's always going to be relatively low. He's a lot like Adam Jones in that sense, where he makes a lot of contact, and that can also be a deterrent. One of the things that sort of holds Franco back is he's not patient enough, doesn't always wait for his pitch, so he pops out a lot. He had a 15% infield fly ball rate. That's, one of the big indicators I always look at in terms of what kind of contact they're making. He doesn't always make hard contact. I wish he'd wait for his pitch a little bit more, but he's only 24. He's been in the major leagues. He's in a hitter's park, and he's only going to get a better supporting cast around him. I can't imagine the Phillies are going to be as bad as they were last year. So if his offense and the players around him bump up a little bit, he knows how to move players along, makes good contact, and he's in a hitter's park that's going to play up his power a little bit. I don't see any reason why he couldn't potentially reach 30 homers and maybe touch 90-something RBIs. I mean, he was almost there last season.
Yeah. I think I said I was disappointed in his ADP. I'm actually outraged. Maikel Franco, Maikel Franco, again, I butchered names. Regardless, this is a guy you should definitely be targeting again in 2017 because apparently nobody else wants to touch him. And the value is it's beautiful. So
absolutely
show this man some love.